Andy Johnson, Minnesota State University. We are looking at psycholinguistic reading theory, a transactional model of reading. If you understand and are able to apply these principles, you'll be able to adapt to any teaching situation, adapt any material or methods, and effectively modify and utilize any instructional approach. Teaching is not just a series of now do this strategies, it is understanding. It is understanding. Now, 99.9% of the students you work with already know how to read. They know that shapes represent sounds. You put them together to form words. The problem is they can't read very well. Just like I can play the piano, I know you put your little fingers where the dots are. The problem is I can't play very well. What is needed in both cases is a little instruction and a lot of practice. 70-30, 70% practice, 30% instruction, or 80% practice and 20% instruction. I've heard it both ways. Our children are often confused by our reading instruction, not by reading, however. All right? We've made it much more difficult than it needs to be. Putting sounds to shape, putting shapes together makes words. Reading instruction should be this. Keep it simple. Read to them first, then read with them. Get out of the way. Let them read. They need far more practice than instruction. Yes, phonics is important. No matter what theory, psycholinguistic theory, transactional theory, yes, phonics instruction is important, but keep it simple, keep it incidental. Phonics is not the main thing, it's a means to the main thing. There's very little research to show that intensive phonics instruction does anything more than improve scores on phonics tests. Very little research to show that it works with remedial readers, helping them create meaning with print. It does help them improve phonics scores, but meaning with print, not so much. There is plenty of research to support that reading volume improves all these things: fluency, comprehension, vocabulary, word identification, sight word recognition, and general knowledge. Teachers' #1 job is to help children fall in love with books, and all that stuff happens. There's no single best approach or method for what reading instruction might look like in an LD resource room, but you need to understand and apply the principles of how the brain creates meaning with print. And again, the psycholinguistic approach and a transactional model of reading is helpful here. We don't teach reading. We develop students' ability to create meaning with print. We're developing the neural networks and strengthening neural pathways so as they're reading, they can recognize words quickly and automatically. In our instruction, we must develop 3 cueing systems to identify words: semantic, syntax, and phonological. And we must attend to motivation and emotion. We emote with the same brain we think and learn with. It's silly not to think we should attend to it. So, the essential elements of reading instruction, air quote, there should be authentic reading practice. Students who are at reading level 2 and above, practicing reading real books that they choose. Language experience approach for students 1st grade and below. It's where they dictate and you practice reading their stories. Lots of writing. Use scaffolded writing, sentence mix-up, facilitated writing, and I heartily recommend, instead of those stupid workbooks, use a reading log or a journal to respond to writing. That gives you a much better sense of their development as a literacy person than workbooks do. We must attend to both vocabulary, but concepts and general knowledge. The more knowledge they have, the more vocabulary they have, the better they are at reading. Social interaction, book talks, small group activities. Use your teacher intelligence and creativity to develop structured conversations. As needed, word work. Some students need more, others less. Letter clues, word families, letter patterns. Keep it brief and quickly paced. Word identification skills, if needed. All those ways. Fluency or speed work, if needed, and comprehension practice, if needed. Students don't need there's no one approach that works with all students. You have to know your students. You have to do a diagnostic. Key, if you find it boring and irrelevant, you can be 100% certain that your students will as well. So keep it entertaining, fun, light-hearted.